So I need a meal prep for today. I thought I would bring you along with me for the daily meal prep versus the batches. So egg whites, cauliflower, and then some steak and potatoes. So super simple. Let's get to cooking. So first, I need to cut up the sweet potatoes and get them on the stove. I'm making enough for myself and for Trey, so that's why there's two of them. I'm gonna cut these up, and just to matchsticks. So just super. Which one's gonna cook quickly in the skillet? So I'm just gonna cut them into chunks, small pieces, and get them on the skillet. So season with salt and pepper on these, and then these will cook down probably for 40 minutes or so. Okay, now we're gonna make some onions. Just gonna cut this up, and I'm gonna use this with um, the steak. So I make steak, onions, sautéed together. This would be my lunch. Only may make one of these. Trey just wants the eggs and sweet potatoes. Okay, just gonna slice these up in the pan. So now I'm gonna season up these as well. So salt, pepper, the same ordeal. And then that will saute for about 10 minutes. And then afterwards, I'll add in the steak and keep pushing. So my steak is a little bit frozen, which is actually what I want it to be. So it's easier to cut this way, right? When it's colder, we can cut it in strips a little bit better. And then I'm gonna add this. This is just flank steak, so I'm gonna add this to the sauteing onions right now. Let this come to about mid-rare in the pan, and then it'll be good to go for meal prep. You see, when it's colder, you have a little bit more control, and so the knife cuts through a little bit easier than when it's just completely raw. So the onions are softening up nicely. That's just on a low heat there. And then add our meat. A little bit more salt. And then some pepper. Now this will go for about 10 minutes or so. And then our potatoes got a little burnt on one side, but it's okay. These can probably come off the heat and just stay in the pan for another 5 or 6 minutes to just finish up there. But those are nice and crispy now. So I just realized I wasn't running the mic for that entire segment, but here's what happened. So potatoes went into the bowls or the pans, the meal prep containers here. And then what's now happening is that I put frozen cauliflower rice into the skillet right here. I put a bag and a half. Typically I use one full bag for each, but I left the other bag in the other freezer, so I use a bag and a half. And I'm making two portions, one for me, one for Trey. And so what you need to do now is let this water, see that water, cook off. So you need to let this not boil, but it needs to make it so it's drier. Okay, so you just leave this in the pan. You want to leave it as flat as possible. Go ahead and break up the ice clumps with your hand or with your spatula. And just let this touch the heat for about 10 minutes or so as it dries out. And then you can add in your egg whites and your eggs. Over here, this one is coming along nicely. The steak is getting cooked. The onions are still caramelizing. We can make the heat a little bit higher, but let this one just kind of do its thing for now. At this point, you can also season up your cauliflower if you want to. I'm gonna add pepper for now. I'm gonna add salt later. But this just lets it sit and go. Okay, so this is now dried. See how we're starting to get a little bit of color on the bottom of there. It tells me that most of that water is gone. which now we can add in our egg whites and our eggs. Why is that so important? Well, because if you have it in there, and this is from learned experience, right? If you have it in there, that water, when you add in the egg whites, it's going to take probably double the time, if not triple the time, because that water has to go somewhere. That water has to evaporate first, and then after then, and only after then, can it start to cook and become scrambled eggs. I'm going to turn this piece of steak here. That's pretty raw, but then the rest of this stuff is almost cooked, so that's going to keep going. And now we're going to add our egg whites. So this is going to be a full carton of egg whites. Or I guess a half a carton. But it's basically 250 calories and 50 grams of protein in this entire thing. So a full thing of egg whites. And then 4 eggs. Basically 2 for me, 2 for Trey. Cool. Let's add in some a little bit more pepper. And some salt. Cool. Let's get this scrambling up. So we're going to start to mix this together. Break the yolks. And now this will take about another 3 to 5 minutes to completely scramble. But you see how much volume that is, right? So that entire thing, let me do some quick math. So this entire thing is about 800. So each egg is 70 calories, right? So that's 70, 140, 280. The carton was 500, so that's 780 calories. And then the egg whites, the cauliflower is about 100 calories. So that is 880. So I'm editing the video right now, and I fucked up the math. It was 250 calories in the carton of egg whites, 70, 140, 280 calories in the 4 eggs, and then 120 calories in the cauliflower rice. So 120 plus 280 is 400, plus 250 is 650. Sorry about that. And that's done. Okay, lastly, we're gonna add in the egg whites. So this will be my plate. Trey will get this one with the he's in a bulk, so he'll get that one. The sweet potatoes. So I probably got a little bit more than Trey. So mine's probably 550. His is probably the rest. So I was able to get all of this done in about 1 hour. And I made lunch, breakfast for myself. This is for Trey. And then I can also do a little bit of overnight oats if I wanted to with this, or some cream and rice, or what have you. But for me today, I'm gonna just have the egg whites, cauliflower, steak, potatoes. Trey's having egg whites, cauliflower, and sweet potatoes for his one meal, just because he's in the bulk phase, and so after that he can figure out his lunch or what have you. So again, I prefer to meal prep every single day because I personally tend to eat the entire meal prep, or eat like, if I make it up for 7 days, it might only last me 5 or 4. So knowing myself, knowing that I have mornings are free normally, I have time to just make the food in the beginning, especially for lunch, breakfast and lunch. And then usually dinner, when I get home, I like to make that one individualized. Tonight for dinner, I might have probably gonna have some poached fish, a little bit of chicken stock with some broccoli and rice or something like that. So we'll see what dinner looks like tonight. But in the meantime, I appreciate y'all being here. I'm still working on the angles in this kitchen setup, so bear with me a little bit. I'm trying to make sure it's, I'll learn and get better at getting the right angles for you all to see everything. But appreciate y'all being here. We'll talk soon. Cheers.